Welcome to Ballaholics, the show for those who simply can't get enough about basketball. Today we have the privilege of having Rob on the show.
How you guys doing?
So, as you guys know, this is primarily like a basketball show, but there have been too many NFL, things going on, too many trades going on, too many signings. Rob, let's get started. Let's talk about Le'Veon Bell to the New York Jets.
We're talking about New York, okay. Le'Veon Bell is, without a doubt, one of the best players in the NFL. This man is elusive, he's fast, he's strong, he's everything. But he's going to the New York Jets, and the New York Jets are everything that's wrong with the NFL. So will he succeed? I don't know. But what I do like is the fact that they got him for 4 years, $52.5 million. It's a great deal. Someone on Twitter tweeted Le'Veon a couple years ago, I will give you $60 million personally if you come to the Jets. And he goes, nah, not enough money to play with the Jets. Now he's getting paid $10 million less than that, $8 million roughly. So Le'Veon, was that a good deal for you? I don't know. But now you got to earn it. You're going to play the Patriots 2 times a season. Tough games.
Patriots fan week.
We'll see. It's going to be tough games. Le'Veon Bell, that's huge for the market, though. I think it's huge for Sam Darnold. I think he gets to grow with a superstar next to him. It takes a lot of the pressure off of their young quarterback. I think it gives the fans something to cheer about. I know a lot of New York Jets fans out there. They're hyped. This is Le'Veon. Big boy Le'Veon. But he's going to let them down ultimately, and the Jets are going to go home sad like they always do.
Again, this is like one of the bigger free agent signings the Jets have actually had. I don't remember them actually signing someone in the Le'Veon Bell.
The last person I remember like this is Brett Favre. Brett Favre going to the Jets. That was a big deal. He had just been he had just retired, come out of retirement. Brett Favre is Brett Favre. Le'Veon Bell, he's still in his prime. It's a big, different kind of trade. Brett Favre was at the end of his career, so it's going to be a lot different to see how it pans out.
Another great thing that the Jets did was they actually the flexibility that they had with the signing. I mean. They had, with Le'Veon Bell, there's no guarantees for the 2022 season. So, there's no money guaranteed there.
Yeah,
so let's
sure,
say Le'Veon
but
Bell doesn't perform.
The Jets have the most cap space in football. We can't forget that. So they had to make moves. This was their summer. They had the most cap space available. They've been planning this. And, again, I'm more surprised at how little they gave to Le'Veon in the end. This is financially wise, the Jets made a great move. I mean, player-wise, he's a great player. But, again, they're the Jets, and they won't do anything. But we'll see. Maybe their front office can finally put a fool on someone.
I guess for me, the one thing I was really surprised about was when, Le'Veon Bell was making such a stink in Pittsburgh about, wanting his money. But here he goes to New York, and, he's not getting too much money.
I mean, all right, so he is still getting good money. It's 4 years, $52 million. That's a sizable chunk of pay, but I think it's a market.
But he's not getting what he wanted.
No, he's not getting what he wanted, but I think he realized that after last year with James Conner having such a strong season, he was available after week 7. Originally, the Steelers said, we're going to play Le'Veon after week 7. James Conner did so well, they were like, we don't need Le'Veon. Funny enough, the Steelers didn't even make the playoffs, so maybe they didn't need Le'Veon. But I think that actually hurt his money. I think it hurt his own persona, and I think that was real rough for him. I think last year, had he just stuck it out, I know he deserved more money than what he did last year, but had he stuck out a hard season, fought hard, I think he would have gotten paid at least 50, 55 guaranteed money. But I don't know. It's a toss-up, and the Steelers had their own problems. So
here's my thing with Le'Veon Bell. Look, financially, you don't get as much money as you wanted, but you're gonna miss being under Ben Roethlisberger and that Pittsburgh Steelers offense. You're going from a really great offensive, Steelers offense when you have Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger throwing to you. Now you're going to have a young QB in Sam Darnold. So honestly, I feel you're going to miss Ben Roethlisberger performance-wise. You're not going to do as well on the field. And also, financially, you didn't really get what you want. So for me, if I'm really thinking about if Le'Veon Bell made the right decision, I don't think so.
All right, but here's the thing. He's in the market. He's in New York. These are the big lights. This is the big money. This is a huge stadium. You're in MetLife. That's one of the nicest stadiums in the entire NFL. It's a big franchise. He's got a big following, big names. He is a big name. Biggest thing is now he's the big boy in the house, right? At the Steelers, there was Antonio Brown, there was Roethlisberger, there was Mike Tomlin. A lot of big names, a lot of guys who have rings. You look at the Jets. No one has a ring. You have an unestablished quarterback in Sam Darnold, and now you have a bona fide superstar in Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon gets to come in and kind of control the situation. If he comes in and he's not a jackass and he really wants to put in the work and win with the Jets, and he can mentor Darnold and really help him out, it's a quarterback and a running back. He's not throwing at him as much as you think. This isn't a they don't need to be on the same page. Well, they do need to be on the same page, but it's not as though they're on a telepathic, you're going to make this route go here. This is, I'm going to hand you the ball and you are going to be so fast you're going to run into the end zone. And I think this only helps Sam Darnold. I think of all the places to go for Le'Veon, This was probably one of the best markets for him. I think he's going to make tons of advertisement money, whether or not he actually gets as much contract money. And the biggest thing is it's a 4-year contract. He's a running back. 4 years is a lot. But he can still come out of his contract as a very valuable player. I don't think he's going to be winning any titles in the next 4 years,
exactly.
And I think that's a big thing to say. Clearly, he's not going after rings, but hey, not all the players are.
I mean, I think we all know if you go into the New York Jets, you're really not going
after rings in New York, no.
I guess the other player on the Steelers we have to talk about, I mean, who was on the Steelers, just got traded to Oakland, was Antonio Brown. He got traded for a 3rd rounder and a 5th round pick.
Yeah, the trade itself, I don't fully understand. I do get that the Steelers had to get rid of Brown. He was a very toxic personality towards the end of the season. But I mean, hey, he wasn't wrong. The Steelers missed the playoffs inexplicably. They beat the Patriots confidently, and then after that fell apart and somehow allowed the Lamar Jackson-led Ravens to steal their playoff spot. And next year, you know who's going to be winning that division? The Browns. But we'll get to that later. And now you're looking at Antonio Brown. He's excited to be on Oakland. At first, you heard talks about him going to the Bills, and he wasn't happy about the Bills, as you know, most people wouldn't be too happy about going to Buffalo. But he gets traded to the Raiders, and within an hour, he posts an Instagram picture
I saw it. Yeah,
of him wearing 84. That's Randy Moss's Oakland number. I like that a lot. I think LA is a big place for Antonio Brown. He can kind of get crowded out a little bit by the celebrities in Los Angeles. Or actually, they're going to be in Vegas now, I believe, which is still a big place. There's a lot to do on that West Coast for Antonio Brown. I think the biggest thing is how him and Gruden develop a relationship. I think the Raiders are really about to just go all in on getting rid of their players. I don't think Carr is going to be their quarterback for much longer. I don't think most of their personnel is going to stay around. I think Gruden, he's 1 year into his 10-year contract. He's looking for a real team that he likes. Clearly, he didn't have to give up too much. A 3rd and a 5th round pick for a chance at Antonio Brown. Great play by the Raiders.
5th or 6th?
I believe it was a 5th. I believe it was a 3rd and a 5th.
Yeah.
But the truth is, Brown wanted out, and he had an option that he could have left in the year. So the Steelers could have gotten nothing. Here they get a 3rd and a 5th rounder. They get him a little early. The Steelers are kind of almost going to be looking in a rebuild mode. You know, they're going to have a lot of draft picks. They lost their 2 biggest names. Of course, they still have Roethlisberger, who's got 2 rings, but he's getting old. Ben's getting old. He wasn't as good last season. It'll be an interesting year.
It's like, look, like obviously Antonio Brown, he devalues his trade, trade value by always speaking out in the media. But look, Pittsburgh. When I think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, it just gets me so upset because they had so much potential. You have Le'Veon Bell and you have Antonio Brown. You have such a complete team. You have a veteran QB. That team should be a Super Bowl contender with the Patriots up there with the Rams.
They were,
but the culture, it ruined the entire team. And they didn't make the playoffs. Like you said, you let Lamar Jackson and the Ravens take your playoff spot, and then you trade your Antonio Brown, who's arguably one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, for a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick?
Yeah, the trade itself is inexplicable.
Terrible trade.
We'll see. We shall see moving forward. The Steelers, I think they had to make a choice. They had to make a choice, and this team that they had clearly wasn't doing it. The last time they won a Super Bowl was 2010 against the Cardinals. That was a long time ago. That was a different era. Mike Tomlin needs to prove himself. He might get fired. He might not actually return as a Steelers quarterback, but I still believe Antonio Brown probably was worth a little bit more than what they got, but I don't know how good he will be in Vegas until Gruden puts together a team he wants, and time will tell if Antonio Brown really will shine.
Speaking of bad trades, let's just get to this Giants trade. Giants unloading Odell Beckham Jr. to the Cleveland. Oh my God!
Cleveland Browns.
I can't.
Cleveland.
You heard me. I couldn't even say it. I was like the Cleveland. How in the world did the Cleveland Browns get Odell Beckham Jr. from the Giants?
How? I do know. They gave up a 1st rounder, a 3rd rounder, and Jabril Peppers, a very competent defender. But listen, they are getting a absolute superstar.
Stud.
Odell Beckham Jr. This man is so freaking athletic. You watch him play soccer, and you're like, how is this man not a professional soccer player? You watch him play football, and you ask, how are the other team professional football players? This man does outrageous things to defenders. I cannot wait to see him with Baker Mayfield. I think those two are going to be the most explosive duo in the NFL. Shout out Cleveland. I hope you guys beat out the Ravens for this year's title. The AFC North would be awesome to be shaken up. I don't think the Bengals are going to be good this year. I think the Steelers have a lot of issues. So I think it's between the Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. Funny enough, the old Baltimore Browns, was it? Yeah, they're gonna face each other. What a trade. What a trade. Yeah. Baker, you're doing great. Learn from this man. Connect with this man. Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're going to do. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl this year. I think they're very young. I think their organization is still young, but they will be a great team. Great team this year.
I mean, I'm still looking at this trade. They trade him for a first-round pick, a third-round pick, and then, Jabril Peppers. But when I look at the Giants, Odell Beckham, you don't find Odell Beckhams every day. I mean, he was a once-in-a-generational talent, and you already had Saquon Barkley. You had 2 generational talents. You keep those 2 together, and you could have had a great team for the future. But instead, you elect to trade Odell Beckham Jr., and I as a New York fan, for football, I like the Giants and the Jets. I don't pick a team, but I mean Giants. Like I'm gonna become like a full-time Jets fan because of that trade. I mean Odell Beckham Jr. He's eclipsed 1,000 yards in 4 of his seasons.
Sure.
You don't really see that often.
That's
and trade him to Cleveland.
Man's an animal.
I'm looking at the trade for the Giants, and I think it was they took a huge L.
Okay, I understand they have Saquon and they have Odell, but who did they have throwing the football? Eli Manning. That is not going to win them any games. That is not going to win them any more championships. He did it twice. He's too old now. It's time to move on. All the Giants fans know it. They need a quarterback. They didn't take one last year. I really don't see them taking Haskins this year. I think that's really their only opportunity to take a quarterback. And I don't see them taking it with their 8th pick or earlier pick. Either way, I don't see them taking a quarterback in the first round. So what they do, they get rid of their biggest superstar who complained last year, give him a lot of issues last year. I know, he was a fan favorite, he made plays and everything, but that's not what they need. As an organization, they realize they need to start over. They're not going to be good this year. Eli Manning is still their quarterback. They're not going to tank it again, but they will not be good again. They need to wait for their quarterback. They need a leader, and as much as Odell is a superstar, he is not the reason that you can get to the playoffs or the reason that you can be a superstar team. What he does is he elevates a very good team to be an excellent team. The Giants were a very bad team, and he made him an average team.
He elevated Eli Manning. He made Eli Manning look like a starting caliber player.
Now let's see what he does with a better quarterback. Let's see what he does with a younger quarterback, and let's see what he does with a more creative offensive talent,
So here's my next question to you. Are the Cleveland Browns, can we say the Cleveland Browns are finally legitimate contenders?
Okay, contenders is hard because the AFC is still ruled by the Patriots. Everyone knows that. If the Cleveland Browns are going to win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl, that means they're either going to New England or they're going to go to Kansas City next year. Do I think that they can win in Cleveland or Kansas City? Sure. Do I think they will? No. I believe they'll get close. I think they should be in the playoffs, whether they win their division or get the wild card spot. I think Cleveland will be very exciting to watch. Most likely a 9 to 12 win type team, which is, 12-4 was first place in the AFC this year. That's a hard record to get. But if Cleveland could scrape up those wins, get to the playoffs, they could beat anybody. I still think they're young. I don't think this year is easy enough to label them as a contender, but I definitely think they're a playoff contender. Super Bowl contender, maybe in a year or so. But give them time. They got to learn each other. Baker, Odell, they got to learn what they like, what they don't like, how to work together. We'll see.
So again, I think I have to agree with you. I don't think they're contenders just yet. I feel like they have a lot of potential. I mean, you have Baker Mayfield. Now you have Odell Beckham Jr. You look at their other wide receivers, Jarvis Landry. They also have Chubb. I mean, this team is very talented. I just feel like they're lacking that playoff experience. And now once they make the playoffs this year, hopefully, maybe in the future, you'll be watching Baker Mayfield in the Super Bowl.
I see them almost as a similar comparison to the Rams. Now they have a high-power offense, same as the Rams. And the Rams, they had a great run. They were in the Super Bowl this year, but they just kind of looked like they didn't have the experience. They didn't have it. Now, if they make it back to the Super Bowl, they've been there. They've lost before. Who knows? The Browns, let's give them a playoff run. Let's get them into that exposure, and then we'll talk about if they're going to bring home a championship. But, I mean, hey, LeBron did it to the Cavs. Why can't Odell do it to the Browns,
It's funny you bring up LeBron because actually we're going to get to our next segment.
Let's talk about it.
We're going to talk about the Lakers, LeBron and the Lakers, and it's very upsetting what happened in the Lakers. There's actually 12 games left. They find themselves 7 games out of the 8th seed, so it's not looking like they're going to make the playoffs this year. Rob,
mathematically it's not impossible, but I believe they have a 99.9% chance of not making it. I am sad. I am super, super sad. We are going from LeBron James being in the NBA Final for, what was it? 8 straight years? He's not even in the playoffs. What are the NBA playoffs without LeBron James? I seriously can't remember. I really cannot remember what the playoffs are without LeBron James. I am disappointed. I really thought the Lakers were going to give it a go at a 5 seed, maybe make a little bit of a run in the playoffs, because, hey, LeBron in the playoffs, who knows? But god damn, that franchise is stuck right now. Their coach is a problem. Their side players are a problem. No one's even talking about Lonzo Ball and his dad because they have so many more problems than that. That's crazy. That is insane. That LeBron James signs in a summer, and you're the LA Lakers. You had the biggest superstars ever on your team. You've had them all, and yet here you are not making the playoffs. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Again, like the last time like LeBron didn't make the playoffs was like his second year in 2005. The last time we didn't see LeBron James in the finals was actually 2011. It's insane that he's not making the playoffs. Do you think this hurts his legacy at all?
No. I think LeBron's gotten to a point. We've all gotten to a point. Everyone asks about his legacy. He's won 3 chips. He's made a ton of finals. He's putting up every stat in the book. I don't have any more questions for LeBron. LeBron, he would have 8 rings if not for the Warriors. He would have so many more if not for playing in one of the most competitive ages of basketball of all time. We are seeing incredible superstars not even talked about because there's just so much better players. And LeBron James continues to be at his best, and his team let him down. Maybe he didn't play as well with this team as he anticipated, and he didn't know it was going to be this hard of a run, but I can't say it hurts LeBron's legacy. Next year, they'll sign some players, they'll be in the playoffs, and maybe he will still win a ring before he leaves the Lakers, but let's not forget, he brought a chip to Cleveland, he brought a chip home. His legacy, he knows, he can do whatever he wants at this point. You know?
Again, like when people say like, yeah, it's gonna hurt his legacy that he's not gonna make the playoffs. You know, those are the same people that like will always like, you know, they're just LeBron haters. They don't like LeBron, don't appreciate for what he does. This dude has made 8 straight final appearances. I mean, he has done it all. He came back down, 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors and beat them. He led that team to, he led Cleveland to their first championship in 50 some odd years? No, first ever championship. First ever championship. I mean, you cannot take away from this man not making the playoffs 1 year when actually. Let's go back to Christmas when they were actually the 3rd seed in the West with LeBron James before he fell down with his injury.
That is true. They were looking good. They fell apart. They completely fell apart.
Look, when LeBron James is playing at his full health, this team, they play well. Look, they also lost Lonzo Ball. Look, this team went through so much with injuries, I feel like you can't fault them. People said that roster wasn't assembled correctly. I just feel like they got unlucky with the injuries.
Every team gets injuries. LeBron James. You can't just say injuries. There's got to be more than that. Every team has injuries. You're right. LeBron went down.
Your 3rd seed in the West with LeBron, and then he falls down and gets injured. He comes back. This team is like, not even in the playoffs again?
No, they were already out of the playoffs. They've just been fighting for it.
I don't appreciate that LeBron James, he ruined the culture there, obviously, by publicizing, trying to get Anthony Davis and then throwing his teammates under the bus.
There was that picture of LeBron sitting 4 seats away from the closest teteammate.
And
that's not good.
There was another picture of Rajon Rondo doing the same thing. The culture there is just, it's so upsetting to watch. It doesn't work. It
doesn't work.
They need to fix that immediately. I don't even blame Luke Walton. I really blame Magic Johnson. You know how I feel about that. In terms of this is his legacy, I don't really think so. And I think he's going to take this, not make the playoffs. He's going to rest a lot this season, and he's going to use that motivation for next season. And next season, I feel like we're going to see LeBron not only in the playoffs, but as a legitimate contender in the Western Conference.
Well, I agree, but we're also going to see the Warriors get a little bit worse. So I think that there's a big correlation right there. Had the Lakers still been in the playoffs, there's no guarantee they would even win a round. It's a really tough one. I agree. Magic Johnson is just not sure what he wants to do. He's really stuck in 2 worlds. He drafted Lonzo thinking, I'm going to go young, I'm going to build, we're not going to be in the playoffs for a while, but that's okay. And then the next summer, they went and got LeBron James, who's the greatest player in the NBA. He doesn't know what he wants to do. The Lakers don't know what they want to do. They're used to winning, and they don't know how to not win. And now they're stuck with.
Well, the Lakers. As of recently, they've
only lost.
I don't know about that.
Only lost. I agree. But we're looking at a culture of the LA Lakers that just produce championships after championships after championships.
Neck in the neck.
I'm assuming we're going to get to another point where the Lakers are competitive. I don't know when, but I was really thinking that we'd be watching LeBron James running a 4th seed team right now, and he's not even making the playoffs. I'm upset. Every NBA viewer should be upset unless you really hate LeBron that much that you're dancing in your room. And hey, all right, fine.
Skip Bayless.
Sure. Skip Bayless is having a great time about this, but the NBA should be upset. The playoffs alone are just not going to be the same. We're talking about LeBron James. He's been the guy since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
And it's a real shame that he's just not going to be there come April and May.
It's like if I went to the dictionary, I looked up the NBA Finals. Like a synonym would be LeBron James. It's like he's always in the finals. It's crazy that he's not going to be there this year, obviously, because they're not going to make the playoffs. But Rob, You think LeBron James can win one more, at least one more, with the Lakers?
I mean, I'll say it every time. If LeBron's in the playoffs, he can win the championship. It's just that simple. When LeBron plays 45 out of 48 minutes in a game, that team can win. I have absolutely no doubt about it. So, yeah, I do. I believe the Lakers should make the playoffs next year. Hopefully there's no injury crisis that they have, other reasons, anything like that. Most likely we will see the Lakers in the playoffs next year. Most likely we will see the Warriors without Kevin Durant. And most likely a lot of other big changes are going to be happening. Maybe Kawhi goes to the Lakers. Maybe a lot of things move around in the summer. I can't not see the Lakers not in the playoffs next year. And once they're in the playoffs, it's anybody's game. LeBron, it's anyone's game.
Again, like, I just feel like LeBron, like, he's bound to win one more. Like, there's a star that's bound to go there and sign with, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Sure.
I mean,
Anthony Davis
Thompson,
can still
it
go.
can be Kawhi Leonard. I mean, it just takes one to sign in LA. And I think it's going to happen for sure.
Okay, really quickly, we want to talk about NCAA, right? This is big March Madness games. What are you feeling? What are you liking? Where are your picks?
Look. Everyone you talk to, they're going to say, yeah, we want Duke to win. Duke's going to win. You got Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett. They're like the Golden State of, the NCAA. You want to know who the real Golden State Warriors, the NCAA are? They're the Virginia Cavaliers. Yup, the Virginia Cavaliers are the favorites in my book to win the NCAA tournament. Look, for Duke, they have been too inconsistent for me. They have lost they've only won 4 of the last 6 games.
Yeah, but Zion's
I don't trust them to win. I believe Duke can win a game. They can win any game, but to win on a consistent basis, that's what you have to do in the NCAA tournament. You have to win a consecutive amount of games. I do not believe Duke has the consistency to do that. I look at the Virginia Cavaliers. This team reminds me of the Golden State Warriors. Let's talk about Kyle Guy. Yeah, what a guy he is. Arsenal, he's like Klay Thompson. He's the best. He's like one of the best catch and shoot players I have ever seen. I went to the Syracuse game. He went 8 to 10 from the 3-point line. He shot 8 from 10 from the 3-point line. I've never heard of that
That's
before.
pretty good.
I've never heard of that before. And then let's not forget Tyrone, who is the Steph Curry of that team. The playmaker. He is the engine that gets that team going. And then you have DeAndre Hunter, another forward, a two-way guard. Reminds me of a little bit of, I'm not saying he's Kevin Durant, but he's a two-way player on that team. He fulfills that role of, driving to the basket, getting open looks, and also, knocking down his three-pointers. And this team, one of the best defensive teams in the NCAA. For you, defense is essential for a team to win in the NCAA. And because of that, I just feel like the Virginia Cavaliers have the best shot to win the NCAA title.
While I don't disagree with anything you've said, we're talking about March Madness. It is literally called Madness for a reason. All right? The reason it's Madness is because it is win or go home. You need to win every single game. No matter how you do it, you might not deserve to win every game, but if you do it, you keep going and everyone else goes home. I actually believe that Duke, losing a couple games in the back, they're now the 5th seed, I think, in the country, which means they wouldn't be a top 4. They wouldn't be a number 1 seed. I kind of think that helps them. I know that's a really weird thing to say. I think being a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament can sometimes be too much pressure for these young players to bear. A lot of the times the teams are near perfect. Wichita State, although that they were perfect for different reasons. Kentucky, yeah, it's very hard to maintain that excellence. And I think Duke having this little rough stretch is good because if they can get over this hump, Zion's coming back. You can talk about it all you want. Zion Williams is the best player in NCAA basketball. That man he's a man. He's a man among boys. He is the second. If he were in the NBA right now, he would weigh the second most out of every single players in the entire NBA, and he's a college student in his first season. Zion Williams, prove everyone wrong or prove me right. I don't know what you want to do. Go and win this thing. You will be the number 1 pick if you win it. You will prove everyone. He's
the number 1 pick anyway. He's the number 1 pick anyway.
Actually, weirdly enough, I think Allen is his biggest competition, his own teammate. I think RJ Allen's very, very good. RJ Barrett, yes, I apologize. But there's an Allen on Duke also, I believe. Yeah?
That could be.
Well, either way, I think Zion is unstoppable when he's playing at his best. He's been resting. They extra rested him. They were cautious. But hey, he was hurt. He could get hurt again. Who knows? Duke, Coach K, best college coach of all time. There's a couple others in there, but Coach K is something else. He will draw up some new game plans. He will have it. The only single team I think that will end up possibly taking down Duke is UNC. UNC seems to be their kryptonite. They keep playing, and UNC keeps having their number. I know it's a huge rivalry filled with emotion, filled with the coaching pastors. It's big. If they play in March Madness, everyone will be hyped for it. That would be a final to see. I hope it could be possible. And if it's not, it's not. But I'll tell you what, right now, I got to say Duke's winning the whole thing.
We got to keep in mind, the last time they played UNC and lost, they didn't have Zion Williamson. When Zion Williamson played, it's an entire
that's my same argument. They haven't been as good as they have been. But they also played early in the year with Zion, and UNC still got the win. So it will be a fun March. It'll be a fun tournament. Look out for Buffalo repping SUNY schools. That's pretty cool. They're the 19th seed right now. Hopefully they can actually win a round. Unfortunately, Vermont took Binghamton so far out of that game that it was over at halftime. But Vermont, I hope you lose. Sorry, nothing personal. But you're a high seed, so you'll probably lose. But hey, prove me wrong. I would love to lose some money on that. So.
I'm still I feel like with Duke they're the team that everyone's gonna pick for their to win it.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're the win on a consistent basis. I don't know.
I feel like this is a couple years ago. I don't remember what year it was, but the year that Obama picked Mich State, I think 77% of all brackets had Mich State winning, and they lost, I think, in the Elite Eight almost. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. I don't know. I think because Duke is pushed a little bit lower, they're not a number one seed. They're going to have a little bit of a tougher way to get to the final. I don't know if as many people are going to be putting them as winners, but let's be real. At the beginning of the season, no one was doubting Duke. And yeah, the season proves everyone wrong. But Patriots just won 11-5 and then won the Super Bowl. So sometimes it's not about the season, it's about the playoffs. We're in the playoffs now. Let's see what Duke's got.
That's true. We're definitely, I can't wait for March Madness, straight up. But we gotta talk about, we gotta go to the next segment. We gotta talk about the NBA. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. Who do you believe is the Golden State Warriors' biggest threat to beat them come playoff time? So
as good as the Warriors are, I think you got to go personnel matchup, right? So you're not thinking, oh, the Warriors have Durant, Curry, obviously Clay. They have their whole team. Let's put Giannis against them and see how good Giannis can do because he'll get outnumbered. I think maybe the Rockets can stop the Warriors from getting into the playoffs. I think the Rockets are anyone's team. James Harden, unbelievable. This man is spectacular. When he's on, he's on. But I still think that the Warriors have it in them to get to the finals. I think the only team that could really upset them, I'm thinking in the East, is Philly. I think the Sixers have a full squad. They just got a big trade by getting Tobias Harris. I think J.J. Redick is still one of the most undervalued players in the entire NBA. Joel Embiid, what can we say about Joel Embiid? That man is a beast. If he goes into a real focus mode, remember, they're not rookies anymore. They were there last year. They were expected to make that finals last year once Cleveland looked so weak, and they still didn't. They've had that loss.
But they had Boston.
Let's get it over. Let's get over.
Let's just hope that Philadelphia can even get out of the East. I mean, I don't even think they can get out of the East.
I don't think the Celtics. I don't think the Celtics have it in them. Kyrie is causing so many issues right now.
Who do you believe the 76ers best player right now? Just one.
I genuinely don't know, and I think that's why they are a good team. I think I don't know.
Just one.
I can't. Right. I think Tobias Harris, I think Joel Embiid, and I think Simmons are all worthy of that title.
Any of them, fine. Let's say Joel Embiid. Who's the Warriors' third best player? Klay Thompson? You could argue Klay Thompson is better than all the other players on the Philadelphia 76ers.
I'm not disagreeing with you. That's why we're talking about personnel.
And Kevin Durant.
We're talking about personnel, bro. We're talking about personnel. We're talking about person to person. The Warriors, we all know, they have the best team. There is no denying that. It is insane. Their starting five this year is literally unfair. The fact that DeMarcus Cousins is their fifth best player in their starting five, insanity. That's insane. The era we are in is absolutely disgusting worthwhile talent. There's so much talent in the NBA. And that's what you got to say. What team has the talent, even if they lose a little bit of their players, even if one person gets hurt, who has enough players to keep stepping up? Let's say we get to the Rockets again. What happens when Chris Paul goes down like he normally does with injury? Yeah, every team has it. I think the only team that really has the full depth, the full awareness of what they're doing right now, 76ers.
All right.
But hey, they might struggle in the East. I think Giannis is worthy of that title of the king. But no. I don't know. I like the Sixers.
Listen, Rob, here's why you're wrong. Okay.
Last
year we go back to the conference finals, with the Golden State and the Houston Rockets. They won games. It took 7 games for the Golden State to beat the Houston Rockets. This year, yeah, the Rockets came off to a slow start, but the Rockets, have you seen them lately? They've been on an absolute tear. They've won 9 straight games. They had won 9 straight games, if you don't count last night losing to Golden State. But the Rockets would have swept the Warriors in the season series had Golden State not won. So we talk about matchups, and you look that Rockets have won the majority of their games against Golden State.
And yet they lost last night without Durant. Durant wasn't even playing, and the Rockets still lost to the Warriors.
You gotta let me finish, because I just want to talk about. We gotta talk about James Harden. James Harden, for me, has to be one of the most underrated, underappreciated scorers in NBA history. In NBA history. Listen, you go like the Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's best seasons, scoring-wise, they've scored about 37 points in a season. James Harden is averaging 36 points this season, 7.5 assists, and 6.5 rebounds. Have you ever heard of those stats? Look, the main reason why James Harden doesn't get all the love and appreciation, look, he doesn't play in Los Angeles like Kobe did, and he doesn't play in Chicago like Michael Jordan. He plays in Houston. If James Harden played on the Los Angeles Lakers, oh my God, bro, he would be one of the most publicized scorers and players.
He would not be allowed to play the way he plays if he played in LA.
Wait, I'm not even done yet, because besides James Harden, you have Chris Paul. Yeah, Chris Paul's a little shaky this season. Sure. You know why? That's what happens when you're a veteran and you've been in the league for over 10 years. When playoff time comes, veterans know how to get better and, increase their game. And that's exactly what we're going to see out of Chris Paul.
If Chris Paul was ever going to win a championship, he would have won with the Clippers.
The Houston Rockets, listen, the Houston Rockets have played against Golden State in the conference finals. They know how to beat them. And I believe that the Houston Rockets, come playoff time, I'm not saying that they're going to win. I don't have them favored, obviously. We're talking about the biggest threat. The biggest threat.
How can you claim that
the biggest threat is not Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons?
How can you
biggest
claim
threat is MVP James Harden?
How can you claim they know how to beat them when they've consistently lost to them?
Because this is how the season series. They've won 3 out of 4 games.
We've said it before. I don't care about the season.
They were 1 game away from sweeping them in the season.
The Warriors went 73-9 and lost the NBA Finals. The season doesn't mean anything. The playoffs mean everything. Are you telling me you really think that Golden State are giving it their all every game?
Look, I definitely
No, they are not. No, they are not.
So the 76ers are going to beat them in the finals.
More likely than the Rockets, dude.
One of the closest, this Golden State team, the Houston Rockets, they're the team that's came the closest to dethroning the Golden State Warriors. It took Golden State 7 games. Golden State was down 3-2. Had Chris Paul played those last couple games, don't even get me started. Well,
that's the thing. Chris Paul got hurt like he does in the playoffs. I'm a big Chris Paul fan. I loved him on the Clippers, and I said it. If he was going to win a championship, it would have been in LA on the Clippers with that team. He didn't. Even when he was healthy in the playoffs, he couldn't win playoff games. Chris Paul is not winning the Rockets a series against the Warriors. Maybe James Harden wins a series against the Warriors. But even so, you're talking about a crazy run of scoring that James Harden's putting up. Those numbers are insane. Can he continue it? Probably, because he's James Harden. Can he do it for 7 games in a row in the playoffs? I don't think he can. And the problem is, if he's going to beat the Warriors, he has to put up those numbers every single game. You know what happens when Russell Westbrook has to put up 45 points? He scores like 21. You know what happens when players have to put up 50-plus points? They don't. I don't think Harden can do it in the playoffs with no one else to help him. They have a good team, not the best team. The Warriors have an astounding lineup, and they should get to the finals with ease. Problem is, I think they get cocky, and they slow down there, and that's how they get beaten.
Okay, well, listen, that's all we got for today. Guys, thanks for watching. We're going to see who wins and who's the biggest threat is to Golden State.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to come. There's a lot to come.
Philadelphia, I disagree, but whatever. All right, guys, have a good one. Have a nice break, and enjoy yourselves.